Welcome back to the Koori Knockout podcast. If you love your Koori Knockout footy, you love talking knockout yarns, this is a place for you. Make sure you follow us, like and subscribe every podcast platform we're on, YouTube, Instagram, everything. Follow us on social media. There's plenty of good yarns to come. And today we've got another great yarn for you. We've got Shaq Mitchell joining us all the way from Tari, Biripi, via South Sydney. We've got one of the most skillful forwards I've seen play the game in quite some time, and it's a pleasure to have you on here today, Shaq.
Thanks for having me, bro. Been a long time coming. You've been itchy to get me on, so I'm keen, ready to have some yarns.
I was shocked when you were locked in.
Yeah,
I thought I've been trying to twist his arm for a while.
He's a hard man to get hold of.
I'm quiet, brother. I'm quiet. I'm all like have a private life, so yeah.
You've been watching the podcast, bro. What do you make of the podcast so far?
It's been good, eh? It's been good. A lot of good yarns and that, especially from a lot of the brothers I played against as well too. So and played with. So it's just get their input and see their insights of the knockout and what it means to them. It just makes me sit back and think and recalibrate what I love about the knockout as well. So to bring back to my people and also see a lot of long lost friends and boys I used to play against. So it's deadly.
I'll tell you what, we must have a fair bit of support up there in Tari, because some of our best performing posts early on were them yarns that when we were talking about Tari and some of the great big footballers that they had from there in the past. And you look at the size of Shaq and Trell, the size of these boys, they've descended from these big boys.
What is it down there? What's the water you're drinking down there? What's the cows you're eating down there? What's the steaks like down there? Is it the mixture of the seafood diet and the cattle there, is it?
I think so. I think we just love our clean eating, I reckon. We still got our Maccas and KFC, but that's all right. That's for something else. But a lot of the mob eat pretty clean and pretty healthy, so I think it's just I don't know, it's just something in the air up there.
Well, you've got that beautiful big river. That's one thing that I love. When you drive up that way, when you start going across them massive big rivers and you think, like, how lucky are they to have a beautiful big river like that? You never run out of water. You never. I'm assuming the fish are pretty big that you're getting out of there too, and you're doing all right.
Oh, 100%, yeah. And big bull sharks like swimming up and down there as well. So that'll be different. Yeah. So
when it comes to Latrell and Shaq, like we talk about Matt, your dad, a lot, and Matty was a super footballer, and but we don't talk about your Goolagong side enough. I think very talented sportsman. Your Uncle Maury. Outstanding AFL player, a big fella, one of the best fellas you'll meet. He comes in and manages the All-Stars team and loves his football and just loves his sport, loves his culture, loves everything, Maury. But that Goolagong side's very talented too, and you get a lot of your sporting talent from both sides of your family, don't you?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Like, it's all different sports as well. There's AFL, there's tennis, obviously, and then there's obviously got the football side of things too. They play rugby league down there, and you got to add in, cousin Jackie Legs and cousin Brent Naden too. So we've got a good bloodline in both sides of the family. So yeah.
Well, actually, we had both them boys on together, and they were talking about getting a Condo side in there one year, a return of a Condoblin side. All of yous going back there to have a run. What's the chances of that happening one day?
I would love to. That's the one thing we've spoke about, and I'm South Tari through and through, and I love my South Tari team, and I played with my cousins and all my nephews and that as well too, and so it's and the uncles as well. So, but I got to go represent my other side of my family too, and in due time we're in talks at the moment, but nothing's set in stone at the moment. It's just would love to have it. There's a few of us that can play in that team, and I'm excited and can't wait.
Because that's what the knockout's about, right? Yeah. Representing both sides of your family, and everyone's as proud of their mum's sides and their dad's side, and want to connect with both families and stuff like that. And it's a special thing to do, isn't it? When you get that, to go and play at the highest level, to play in NRL, and then to go back and make your mum and dad proud that you're representing their towns or their communities or their mob in a knockout.
Yeah, 100%. That we've represented like our Tari side, our Biripi side for a very long time now. Obviously, we grew up there, and Troll and the baby brother Lionel, they were born in Tari. So, we're Tari through and through. We bleed red and green with the South Tari colours. But in due time, we have to. It's a must. And Mum's made sure we put that little seed in our head and make sure we represent our Goolagong side too. So,
nice. Now, the Tari story, I remember back in the early days when I'd watched the knockout, and it was big Dennis Bungie. He was a big man, but there was a lot of tough footballers from down there. Your father, I remember Chrissy Morecambe played with him a couple of times. You know, tell us about your early memories of the South Tari boys at the knockouts.
It's not so much memories because like when Dad finished playing, he stopped playing knockout as well. But I just heard stories sitting back listening to the old fellas, you know, and listening back where South Tari was strong. You know, you had obviously you had Dad playing 5'8" for him. You know, we just heard stories about Dad flying around, a little bony fella, but he was tough as nails. And then also had his bodyguard there too, Uncle Mark Mitchell. He was another one. You know, as soon as he bite that tongue, you know someone's getting knocked out. So,
I'll bite the tongue. There's a few bite the tonguers in the knockout.
Yeah, well, he was. That was his key indicator. Dad knew straight away someone's getting lifted. So, yeah, Uncle Mark was another one. I had a lot of big players. You know, I had Uncle Brendan Clark as well. I'd mention him as well because he didn't stop playing until he was close to 40. He played with his sons, and I played with his sons, my cousins, Drome and Trey Clark, and I grew up with them fellas. And Uncle Shane Glass too, the little hooker. He was probably the smallest fella on the field, but he best ankle tacker you'll ever see. You ran at him, he'll sidestep to the side and he hit you around the ankles. He's one of those. He was a deadly hooker, and he was our coach for a long time. In the juniors as well, so there's too many to name.
I played against a good Tari boy. I played with a good Tari boy, Dave Simon, and Dave come up to Armidale.
Uncle Pocket Rocket.
Yeah, and he settled in. He lived in Armidale for a long time, and he played with Narwhal, and he got the player of the knockout in a team in a forward pack. He was the front rower in a forward pack that had PJ Ellis and Justin Smith and Dennis Moran. All in that forward pack, and he beat us all. Dave Simon outdid us all that weekend, and he was one of the first players picked for Narwhal, year in year out. One of the best front rowers that I played with at the knockout for Narwhal. And he's a Tari boy too, and he's proud as punch coming from Tari. Dave.
Oh, he is, mate. You know, that's another memory actually through local comp when Dad played for Tari City Bulls. Uncle Dave was actually his back rower, so he was blessed with a lot of good runners, a lot of strong runners, and good defenders too. So Dad didn't really have to tackle much, but he gets wild sometimes. I remember the earliest memory was he came back out of retirement playing for Wingham, and the first hit he did, I just looked at him and said, "Where'd that come from?" Because he's the most placid person you ever met. You know, he lucky to get a boo out of him sometimes, and seeing that, I'm like, he snapped my head back on. Oh, where's this fella come from? Well, he wasn't talking crap, but with us, you got to be hard to play football.
That's right. I remember playing against your father and silky skills, like unbelievable. Could just had balance and could throw a football left, right, compete, hard competitor, tough competitor. Had all the attributes to go right to the top of it, and I can see how proud he is of what you and Latrell have achieved. But he's proud of all his sons and all his family. You know, loving. When he's up there on that farm, how at home does he look? You know, I went up there at Christmas time, and Latrell was out there working hard, and Matty's working, and just really proud of what the family's built up there. But I just remember Matt as a player for Tari, and just how competitive he was, and he played in a Tari side that probably underdogs massively against us for now, but we only drew with them in a year that we won the knockout. It was first round. We could have got put out first round, and it was all down to Matty Mitchell just competing hard and coming up with big plays. And I'd known Matt for a couple of years then, but I'd never played footy against him. But he was a good one. He was a real strong player, right?
Yeah. No, that's all we heard a lot of stories about Dad, man. He was you know, he wasn't the biggest fella in the world, but he was just the ultimate competitor. You can see it on Latrell how he plays. You know, I've got that competitive nature as well, but I'm a little bit more quiet than anyone else. But you can see it all over Latrell, the way he plays. He's a real competitor.
What did he teach us from the early days? What was the good lessons that he talked to us about? Because he's a very wise man, and he doesn't say a whole heap, but when he talks, everyone listens. I love listening to him. You know. So.
Well, it's a bit of life skills as well. I think he's taught us a lot of life lessons as well, and from his mistakes in his past. And And a lot of the blackfellas up home, their mistakes in their past, and we try and learn and build from that, and through football. But it was as soon as you cross that line, put that jersey on, whoever's opposite, don't matter if it's your cousin, your brother, or your uncle, or whoever, like they're against you. That's just how we are, like that's just who we are. As soon as we cross that line, there's no talk. We're not mates. We're coming over there to bash you, take your head off, or if not, or the other way around.
That was Matt. But what about Mum? Yeah. What did Mum used to say to you when you were young?
Mum, not many people know this, but she's a competitor too. She gets a bit feisty as well. So we're all three of us boys are a bit frightened of our mum. So, she was the same, but she just wanted us happy. That's the main thing with Mum. She's loving and caring. She's strong as well. So we've had a really good childhood with it when it comes to our parents. That pointing us in the straight and narrow. But when it comes to football, everything turns. As all black fellas know, as soon as that game's on, as soon as that first whistle goes, that's it, we're on. So, yeah.
Have you ever played against Latrell? Have you ever gone up against each other? And who would win? Who would win?
Backyard footy, I've seen his episode, and backyard football, me and him always against each other, never together. It's only because, like, when me and him play together, like, we're just like we're in sync. Like we don't even speak to each other. We know where we are. Like I used to do that Melbourne Storm play, that inside ball with Cameron and Billy and Cooper Cronk. We used to do the same thing, and that was our play. And I didn't even have to look. I just looked the other way and pop it down. Troll's always there. Even if I'm turning around for an offload, he's already there. So we try to separate each other, but it was a yin and yang thing. So boys got even teams, but it was just me and him always fighting. Always in the punch up somewhere.
When I watch Latrell play football, I reckon he plays like a kid who's someone used to flog him in the backyard. Like he's always got a temper, he's got anger, and he's been on the receiving end, so he's given return. And I'm thinking it must have been the big fella, when he was young, I used to bash him around a little bit in the backyard, and that's where he gets all the anger from.
Yeah, or him and younger brother used to towel them two up all the time because they get a bit cheeky when they start winning, and I don't like losing. I'm a competitor too. I might be quiet and that, but when I go and play football, I flip the switch. So I didn't like losing against my little brothers. I made sure the big brother always win.
And so you changed positions a fair bit too over your career. So tell us about how you started off and the type of footy you used to play and then where you're at now.
Well, playing for Tari, like I was the man child, so I was a bit bigger than everyone. I was a little chubby fat fella running around, but I was always at least half a foot taller than everyone, bigger. And then by the time I was playing front row at the time because I was only the big lad, so that's the only position they could fit me in. And my fitness level was because of my asthma. I was asthmatic when I was a kid, so couldn't really run far or do much stuff. But as I got older and started growing out and losing all that puppy fat, by the time I was 13, I was at least 6'1". By the time I was 13.
13.
So I got to thank my old boy and my school teacher put me into water polo and swimming and that when I was younger. Yeah, I was a water polo player. Not many people know that. Played water polo for Chatham High, and I was actually pretty good at it. I almost got picked for one of the northern teams, but I couldn't go because I ended up playing rugby league for school, so I couldn't go to the water polo to try and.
You'd see that big frame there, eh?
Big long arm.
Well, that's what I say. I got the long arm, long legs, and big body, so it just fit. And the asthma started I started growing out of my asthma, thank God. So it was to the point now I was fitter than everyone. Like Uncle Shane Glass will tell you, I was the ultimate competitor when it comes to training. Like I was fitter than everyone. I started getting abs by the time I was 14, 15 at 6'1", and I was probably just touching 100 kilos, maybe.
Imagine facing up against this bloke at that age.
Yeah. Well, at that time, I wasn't even playing front row. I was playing centre.
Oh,
so God. I was a centre and played centre for about 3-4 years. I was pretty dominant in the centre role. I was tall, rangy, strong, and I was fast at the time too, and still pretty quick on my toes now. But back then, I was. I don't like saying it, but a lot of people say that I was probably one of the best players in the North Coast.
Yeah.
I'm not a person that
I used to hear
never
it a
used
lot.
to say it.
Yeah.
I never used to say it. I'm not a person
Yeah.
like that, but yeah.
No, a lot of people said, and just based off how you described your build at the time,
Yeah.
like, that's a dominating figure on a footy field.
It's
AJ.
scary, yeah.
So I ended up playing there, and at the time when I was playing my juniors, I always played upper grade.
Yeah.
So I always played a year above, and I was playing fullback there, and just catch the ball and run straight back at you.
Yeah.
Use a bit of footwork sometimes, but never used to pass like Latrell. I used to try and bully people and try and run over top of them, and I'll have a laugh, have a little giggle or cackle when I'm running over top of them. But and then end up breaking my ankle at 15, compound fracture dislocation.
Shit.
That was pretty horrific injury, and I ended up going back to because I couldn't run at the time, and Latrell started blooming a little bit with the running, and like he started getting his legs back, and after having a couple of years off with growing pains in his knees, so I ended up playing 5'8" at the time. So I was probably the biggest 5'8" in the comp.
6 foot.
Yeah, so at that time that was what 16. I ended up playing 5'8", and I was 6'2", 6'3", 100 plus kilos, and playing 5'8" because I couldn't run as much. So me and Latrell were the halves, and chose to kick on because he's a left footer. He used to stay on that left side. I was a right footer, so I stayed on the right side. But we always made sure we fixed it up, and me and him used to fight all the time over the kicking duties.
Of course.
He had the goal kicking. I told him, I said, you can have the goal kicking because I'm useless at it. But when it comes to like dropouts and all that sort of stuff, we always fought and that. But it was good. It was a healthy competition because me and him controlled the team pretty well. That's how I learnt all my passing. I've always had the passing skills. I puff left, right to left. I kick both feet as well. So not many people see my kicking game, but at training I do little torpy bombs and that, and they're like, where's that coming from? Who did kick that? And they looked at me and they're like, oh yeah, big fella's there. So
What would Wayne say if he let one rip in a game?
oh, I'll probably get sprayed, but see how we go. I had one chip there. Against Melbourne. So it was my first game back last year from injury, and all of a sudden we had a little bit of rolling, and it was fifth to last, and Cookie passed it to me, and I was looking around going, what am I supposed to do with it? I said, wait there, all right. And my 5'8" mentality kicked in, ran across, did a crossfield kick, and the boys didn't catch it. Will Warwick caught it and ran it back the other way. Oh. And I was turning around, I was like, oh, here we go. And I looked at Cody, and I was waiting for a spray. Cody goes, bro, that was good. What are you turning around at me for? I said, Brett, because I know you turn around and spray me.
If anyone's going to spray you, it's coming from
I
Cody.
turned around straight away, I looked over, I was like, I'm getting sprayed here. And he goes, no, that was good. Them other boys mucked you up. But
You're saying that you used to do the dropouts and that. Could you drop out the ball and make it land on nearly your try line and then roll back to the 10 metres like Trell's been doing? And could you nail field goals from 40 out? This is your chance to take the credit for it here, that you're the one who...
Look, I'm not a person like taking credit, but no, like me and him used to compete everything. Like everything we do, we compete. And if I see him goal kicking, I'll go over there just to be a smart ass and go say, don't let me beat you, I'm a front rower. Don't let me beat you. And I'll get in his ear, and he gets for a while, and he switches on, and he ends up slotting them. And then I used to do the same thing. So whatever he did, and he practiced. I go there just to stir him up to make him better. That's just who I am. Like I like to make everyone around me a bit better, and I try and connect emotionally and like as a person as well. So that's I feel like I get the best out of people as well. So I'm on the football field, so I try and connect as much as I can.
I really love hearing you say that, because I feel like more and more we're trying to drum competition out of our young kids and stop them from trying to be competitive and you know, making it a fair play space for everyone. But the benefits that you get, I believe that from being a competitive person and from pushing the people around you, not only makes you better, but it makes everyone else around you. And you need to be competitive in life, because life's not handed to you when you get there. You know, it's not a fair playing field when you're out 100%. On your own. I feel like that competitive nature is what you see in a lot of our best performing NRL players and players that go on to be successful.
Well, you would have got it with Matt.
Yeah.
I know Dennis used to do it to me.
Absolutely.
This fella did it to Trell, and you can see the talent that Latrell has to kick that winning field goals from 40 metres out, to do the big moments. That's someone who's been put under the pressure as a young person to step up to the moment. Could you see that talent in him from a young age?
No, 100%. We've all seen it. You know, Dad's Dad even seen it, but he wouldn't say nothing. You know, he that's the one thing. Like I take, you know, I'm actually really happy what Dad did with us. He just let us be us at the end of the day. You know, he very rarely stepped in. You ask anyone from Tari, you know, he never ever stepped in with us. He very rarely, you know, said anything. Never come to the coaching staff or anything like that. But the only time when he speaks is when you go and ask him. He'll go and ask it, and he's honest too. So which is good. So he kept us honest, and you know, you go, like I said, one game I played 3-4 weeks, smashing. I was scoring 3-4 tries a game, and then I had one game I only scored one, and I hardly touched the ball. And he looked at me and goes, "You right, Dad?" I'm like, "Yeah, well, I'm right. I'm just not feeling it today." And he goes, "Oh, that's all right. You're gonna have games like that, but next week you'll be 10 times better, and you got to make sure you're better because your teammates are waiting for you." And I said, "Yeah, sweet, righto, good." And he goes, "And I don't want your little brother going out there, you know, doing all the work because you're older than him. You got to set the example." And that stuck with me then. So I try off the field. I try and be the best version of me, and I didn't realise because I was just so fixated on myself. I didn't realise that all the people around me were getting better because I was concentrating on little things and being better myself. And everyone's trying to move up, and I try and encourage them to be better than me. I've always said that to everyone, even the younger fellas now at South Tari, because I go helping. Past couple of years I've been helping with the, not so much the coaching, but just more of running water and just being the presence and going there and telling the young fellas, mate, you know, I keep lifting them up, making sure they, you know, they got someone there that's at that level, looking down, helping them up, bringing them up as people, as mobs. So, and that's with every team I go with. I don't say no.
Well, it shows there's a lot of players coming through there too, isn't there? Because for the last few years at least, I've noticed there's been two South Tari's teams in the men's comp, and there's been junior teams coming through as well. So you've got numbers up there that are playing and wanting to play.
Oh, exactly. You know, we want to build something special up in South Tari. So, you know, everyone knows when they see red and green, they know straight away who that is. That's South Tari coming in. The opposite teams, you know, they always know, like, we're in for a game when you play against South Tari. When you start hearing our chant, screaming, and all the boys doing it on top of their lungs, and, you know, they hooting and carrying on straight after the chant, you know, we're coming for you. And we try and even win, lose or draw, like, we want the game to be competitive. We want the game 100%. To be nasty because that's how we play. We play like that's our style. You know, and you know, the harder you hit it, the better we come back. So that's just how we are in South Tari.
I love hearing
What's
that.
your first memories of playing in the knockout for you?
My first memory, I was 14 years old at Woi Woi. I was going to have a run. You know, my uncle Peter Smith took me over, but he's like a grandfather to me. So his name's Pa. So to us and him and Auntie Sherry. So he's like a grandfather to us. So he took me down, and I was going to have a run with Lapa. But I went down there, and a couple of boys came. It was sweet for a month or so, and then as soon as I got down there in person, they said, "Oh, no, brother, sorry, we've got no spot."
No spot for you.
I said, "Nah, that's sweet." No
Surely
dramas.
when they seen you, they said, "We're finding a spot for this big fella."
I said, "Oh, that's sweet. I'm happy, you know." They're proud mob, mate. Like they had a lot of boys that are from there, and they chose them over me, and that I accepted it, and I said, "Yeah, no, sweet." You got the boys that wanted to play and they couldn't, and I'm an hour, and then they end up saying, "Yeah, no, we'll play," and they're from Lapa, like. Yeah. So be it. Like it is what it is, you know. That's mob, and I respected it because they'll pick a mob instead of someone else from outside. So, and then I found out one of my cousins' teams. So all of my cousins and my uncles, so Uncle Ducky, he was one of the I would say founders actually. One of the big head honchos there at Fornalla, and Lance Dixon from. Tweed Connections.
Back when he was a
Nulla man. He got us in. He got me in first, playing for him and playing with the likes of all the Kempsey boys and Armidale boys, and I found out there was a lot of cousins there that I played with, and I first met them. So it was good. It was good connection, and I knew straight away I felt like I was at home because that was my mob too. So especially with the Gumbengi side, so I fit in really well there, our first game was against Redfern. So yeah, that was a rough match, that one. That was a very rough match. Still remember that game actually. It was the Fox was there. He was playing against us. I think Shaney Boy was there too. Shane
Yeah, he would have been amongst
there.
it.
Peebo was there too. I think he was there as well. And Big Zane Wolford, he was there.
Yeah.
He was there 5'8". He was the longest link.
Stack side.
Yeah, it was Redfern side, and he was the longest link. He was 5'8" I've ever seen, and mate, he could hit. He was aggressive. He was aggressive 5'8". And then and then they saw me, and I was similar height to the majority of them, and the poor front row copped it, poor fella. Ran off the kick-off and ran straight at me, and I lifted him. I gave him a cuddle. I gave him a cuddle on the ground. I said, "Sorry, my brother. I just got to make a statement." Sorry, Brett. So, that was my earliest memories. And then the most proudest moment was putting on that South Tari jersey on at 17 years old, 2013 against Whack. So,
Wow.
Went up against Whack.
Yeah.
What was you playing, bro? What position?
I was centre.
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 Did you come wedging in on the front row? Was George there, or George didn't
Nah,
play?
Georgie was on the wing. George, he was on the sideline. He didn't play actually. Sorry, George.
No, we had our grand final that year.
You had the grand final
George
that
didn't
year
grand final not playing. Geez, you're lucky you dodged the ball. So who was in that side, the Tari side you debuted in?
Tari side. Troll was there.
Latrell played. What was Latrell?
He was my winger.
So what
Oh,
age
you
were
were on the same edge.
We did at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. But
That's
Troll
cool,
was on
eh?
the left side because that's his side, and
Yeah.
I was right. So
Yeah.
because I had right hand carry, left fin.
Yeah.
Where Troll was left hand.
How old were you at this time?
17, 16.
17, 16, going up against Whack.
Yeah. So we were the youngest. Latrell was the youngest, and I was actually the second youngest.
Was that the Woy knockout, was it?
No, that was Raymond Terrace.
Raymond Terrace.
Raymond Terrace. Yeah, Woy was 2011 when I played for Nulla, and then we ended up going back to Nulla probably that same year in 2013, me and Latrell, and we ended up backing up because that's obviously the kids played before. We ended up backing up for South Tari then. Yeah. And, I was the centre and Troll was the winger, and then I have a couple of cousins that were same age, back row and hooker, and then we had the likes of one of the old veterans up home was Uncle Irk, Steve Simon. He's a Mitchell as well. So him, Uncle Dion, Simon, he was another one. We had like older brother, a lot of family relatives and that as well, and one of our big brothers and that as well. So we had the likes of Brandon Clark, Troy Cochrane's son. We had him. He was a rough as guts front rower, so I didn't have to go in the front row because I had too many big rough fellas. Had Dougie Ferguson, who was another one. Uncle Doug was he was a front rower. He had a lot of skill too. He was a skillful front rower. Jay Simon, he was another one, good runner. List goes on. We had a lot of really good players and a lot of strong players. And
what do you remember of this Walgett side? What were they like to go up against? Because that's a big team to go up against.
All veterans, man. Oh my God, we had the likes of the Jensen brothers.
Yeah.
Matty played. I think Trent played too.
He would have been there.
I think he would have been there. Oh, he definitely would have been there. Yeah. So had the likes of them. I think Big Zane Wolford ended up playing.
Yeah, Zane.
Big
yeah.
Zano. It was a list. That was a long list. I was just looking at it because I knew Rod Jensen when he played for the Cowboys, and
Yeah.
I knew straight away with the headgear. He didn't have the headgear at the time, and I knew who he was. I was like, a big Rod there.
He had the curls flowing.
Had the curls flowing then, and
Did you get a chance to jam in on anyone or drive anyone?
Yeah, well, I had to. He would have scored, and I would have got sprayed by my old man. Big Rod. I got Roddy.
That's cool.
He come in with a little short. One of the boys gave him a little short ball, and I come in and hit him and popped the ball out. I was sitting there thinking, oh my God, I just hit Rod Jensen.
Yeah. How cool is that as a 17-year-old?
I got up and I tapped Unc. I said, "Deadly Unc, good run." And I was thinking, I shouldn't have said that. I'm going to get lifted now. But no, it was good. It was good. It was a good experience because they had a lot of old heads and they've all played knockout through and through. And it was a good experience. And we came in the year after and we got flogged. So, Waterloo towed us up. Fox scored 4-5 tries, and I kept telling the boys, I said, whatever you do, that number one there, don't let him run. What they do, they let him run. And I said, nah, wrong answer. So, that's another one of my earliest memories. That was 13 and 14. And then my best memory at the knockout was 2015, Griffith and Whack. I love that game. That was the best. That was the best game because talking about my Goolagong side, that's where a lot of my Goolagong side resonate down in Griffith, Hillston, Lake Angelico, and what was the other places? Leeton. So that's where we all resonate down there. So sorry, my brother.
So
but I
you
was
were
going
cheering
for Griffith.
against us?
I was cheering against
Oh,
us. Sorry,
bruh.
brother. I was going with Drewy and that because of mob
right.
connection there. So a lot of the Williams and that is up down that way too. Is all mob too. So I love that game because how rough it was, and it was actually a real competitive game by the final final hooter. So
I wish we won that though.
Yeah.
It's a memorable game, mate. But it's hard to remember the ones that you
It
lost.
stopped the knockout, didn't it? I remember it. It stopped the
did.
knockout. Everyone was there. They're all eyes on it.
as soon as that draw lined up, that was the talk. That was the talk of the knockout. Griffith versus
Full of
First
death
game.
too, eh? That was the first
Well, you meet
full
the
of death
Yowies
one.
if you win.
yeah. So it was a
And who
good
they
draw.
play? They played someone too, didn't they? The Yowies.
They had a tough one first up too.
Yeah, I can't remember. Was the four? There was the last 4 teams drawn out of the draw.
Yeah.
And the Yowies, I can't recall who the Yowies played, but I remember it was like, geez, there's 4 good sides there, and 2 of them are going to be going straight away. And unfortunately, it was old Georgie here, but memorable game.
No, I was a bit. Sorry, but like I know that the RAB had like that 2015 years had that memorable,
Winning the
win
final.
the final and everything. Like with Shaney boy kicking it from halfway to level it all up and that. And but that game was my ultimate game.
Well, it usually is the
because-
20-minute ones that bring the most excitement.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, it's the results might be close and stuff like that, but it's not as exciting, the football. But I remember that Walgett Griffith one. He's had a few battles over the years.
No, we had a
Walgett
few
and
good
Griffith.
ones.
Yeah.
had a
Always
few real good
memorable.
games against
Always
them.
memorable
Yeah.
ones. What's the score at? About 2-1, 2-all?
Well, I know we got them at Raymond Terrace. They got us there. They got us in Bathurst.
Yeah, they got you in the first round or second round. Eh?
Every time we played them first round, they got us. So they got us, and when we were hosting too. See, that's why we could never.
Yeah,
that's why I say
2
we could never
times.
defend our titles. So they got us in Bathurst. They got us in Dubbo.
I usually got them a few
defending
times though.
So
since
we got them a few. Yeah.
Good old rivalry. Who's Tari's rivalry? There's a lot of teams on them north coast there that go up against each other. Who's a team you love?
Old stories, obviously, no one's won. Obviously, because of that game with that close game that you fellas had. Or Kempsey.
Your father run us all down that night. He went and told. Well, Mal Cochran started it.
Yeah.
He told lies to them all that I called them all drunks and has-beens
that's what
before.
fight-
So they all come out trying to kill me.
Yeah, they got fired up.
I remember
heard
at the
that story
scrum, at the
too.
first scrum, everyone from Tari's going off at me.
Mm.
Yeah, we're drunks, eh? We're going up against drunks, eh? We'll see how you go today, you hero. Like, I was like, I haven't said nothing about this. I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
But Mal Cochran made it up and told them all that he run into me the night before, and then I said, yeah, we're playing Tari, they're all drunks.
Yeah.
And so Matty was trying to kill us all day. All the forwards at every scrum, they were all mouthing off and giving it to me, they were. And I was like, oh, Jesus, thanks, Mal.
Rivalries. I'm calling off Yarns more than anything. Kempsey, all the Kempsey teams. Obviously, because we're next door.
Whoever
neighbours
they are,
there,
yeah.
or we like us as in the draws. 9 times out of 10, it's either we play Kempsey, or we play Bellbrook, or we play Nambucca, or one of the other teams. Especially because they're all mobs, they're all family. So we either play the family teams. But lately, it's been good because we're playing a lot of the Western teams. But the only thing. Some of them are all my mob from
You've
the
got
other side.
Western on the other side.
It don't matter.
Family
So,
on the other side.
so I think out of the old yarns and that, when I sit back and listen to our old footy yarns, was it was Kempsey. It was either Kempsey and Tari. Good games because we always played against each other in Group 3, Group 2 battles, and it goes on for a long time. We're just literally the Hastings is the only thing that's separating us, the Hastings River. So
Who were some of the young footballers growing up that you used to go against and think there's some gun players? Who's the young black fellas that you used to play against?
there's too many I can think of, to be honest with you.
Or even coming out of Tari, who were some of the ones you thought were?
Come out of
You had the Hazard boys there close.
The Hazard boys, Jakey and Christian were close.
Still good players,
Ash,
Jake and
Ash, older brother Ash, he was good too. He was at Newcastle system too, but obviously didn't go to
Jamal's just up the road there,
Jammer.
Foster.
Yeah, obviously Jimmy the Jet's got some ties and Foster as well, and from his old man, and same with I know he was born and raised. I know he's from Cass Casino, but Ty Roberts too. Foster
Down
boy.
Foster
He's
for a
he's
bit,
got
yeah.
family connections to Foster. And then there's likes of younger fellas. So Blakey Steep from Port.
Yeah.
So he's a Port Macquarie boy.
He even played All Stars
He
last
played
year.
All
and
Stars.
Doing well at the
doing
Roosters
well
now, eh,
there.
Blakey? Good fella too.
Yeah, good kid. There's heaps more. There's like I'm talking about non-Indigenous as well. There's Matty Croker. There's obviously Boyd Cordner. There's the young
Danny Badiris.
young.
He's Tari boy, isn't
Yeah,
he?
no, young Nav Willett from Manly.
Yeah.
200 centimetre bloke. He's only a kid.
Yeah.
So he's 18 on the wing. He
There
carved
is
us
something
up
that
in the
you're
try.
eating up there.
Yeah,
Then. These are all giants.
I think so. Because Nav's there about 200 centimetres. He's a big, tall, rangy thing, but got some speed to burn and really good under eyeball. So a lot of the non-Indigenous boys. But out of terms of our community and our communities around us, Group Two were one of the best. Like, they had the likes of cousin Cars Buchanan, Daniil Donovan, another Cuzzo from Gumbengi side, and then they had little halfback, little stumpy fella. One of my all-time best mates. We only just rekindled our relationship past couple of years. Young Jace Long, he was a competitor. He was aggressive for halfback. He's only a short little fella. I used to pick on him a lot, but he used to grab me around the knees and drive me all the time. So he was another fella. There was heaps of young black fellas back in the day.
Talent, all that North Coast. Always, you look at the talented footballers from Tari up through Port Macquarie to especially Kempsey. Unbelievable.
Oh, massive.
And even as you go, Coffs Harbour, Nambucca,
then
there's always someone up there that can play football.
100%. And then you had the likes of BK, Old Pop from up north, the further north of Ballina and that. So you had Pop and Brian Kelly and I think Bev was a year older than us, but he was around the same age. Bevan French, another one.
Because there haven't been many teams from the North Coast winning the knockout.
Nah.
The early days, Kempsey was obviously a strong football side. A lot of people say they'd probably win it if they got one team, and they got a lot of different teams they all play for.
Yeah.
Nambucca were dominant during their period.
Yeah.
But if you look outside
they had a great period though.
Yeah, and they were a great side and some of the best knockout players all in one team. But the Coast hasn't replicated that since that Nambucca team, They always go okay. The Dungutty side went good for a long time. Tari were really good for a long time, but just I think Tari, they won it in 80s, early 80s, one of the Tari sides.
I think so, yeah. It wasn't too
one
too
win
far
for
apart.
Tari, but if you look, once Nambucca finished their run, we haven't had a strong coast side sort of win it.
I think that's the talk. I think the North Coast might be coming. So
You reckon?
I think so.
Well, it's a shorter trip for them. Tamworth's a short trip for the North
well,
Coast.
for us, it's only straight over the mountains and a couple of hours and we're there. I was even the couple of the Nambucca boys were even in talks with me coming over to play for Nambucca.
Ooh.
I was very interested, obviously because I got family roots there, Buchanan side. So, I've always said that I've always asked Dad, is it right? You reckon it would be right? And he goes, well, it's family. Like, what can you do? It's your family. You can play for your mob if you want to. I never had the opportunity to play for Nambucca. And that was my choice, but it's your choice. That's the one thing. And I only had one family member that played for Nambucca, and Uncle Lance, and he gives it to everyone because he goes, I'm the only one that's played for Nambucca. None of you fellas have. I'm the one that's always played for Nambucca. So he's got that hold against us. So that could be playing cards in the woodwork. So we'll see how we go. But they got a really good team too. They got young Dream playing. He was playing fullback for him, and just to build around him as well. And then obviously you get a couple boys that are really good on the North Coast. Something's brewing on the North Coast. It's just trying to get that team together. So.
Do you reckon what he's talking about there? Do you reckon that's a bit of a blessing and a curse? Like it's great that you've got so many family connections around that area, but then when it comes time to pick that team at knockout time, and we talk about how many great teams could come out of Kempsey and around that North Coast, that mid-North Coast area, is it building that consistency when people have got allegiances to multiple teams? Does that make it a bit hard to have that consistency to go on and win a knockout?
I think so. It's a blessing and a curse in itself. So because a lot of family members, what families like, blackfellow families are like. They're always fighting, loving each other and fighting the next minute. So Yeah, like I've always said it. And like a lot of the Tari fellas always said it, Kempsey could win every single knockout if they had that one side. That one side, if they really want it, Kempsey can win it. So they're blessed with a lot of talent. I was talking to Albert Kelly, and he said the same thing. He goes, we could win it. It's just none of us don't like each other for some reason. I don't know what it is. And I said, don't worry, us Tari fellas sit back and scratch our heads going, oh, these fellas could smash everyone. I don't know why they don't bring one side in, but that's outside noise, and that's their thing, and that's their families fighting against each other. I don't know what it is. I keep out of it.
You look in the last 10 to 15 years. How many Kempsey players have won knockouts at other clubs?
Exactly.
Kieran Vale, John O'Wright, and Rocky Walker won it for Redfern. Albert Kelly, Adrian Davis, Richie Roberts. They win it for the Owies.
And all played major parts.
And they did. They led teams.
100%.
I mean, Chris Piper up there, Kempsey, he won it for NAB and AJ as well. And there's a lot of boys from Kempsey that seem to be playing for other teams and doing well, but they just can't seem to get it all right with their own community. So,
and then there's so many elite players in every other team that are Kempsey bred players.
yes.
There's so many that could
You'd
easily fill that side.
Well, that was the same when youth fellas played. Was it youth fellas that played that young Kempsey side? They were only 18, 19.
No. Yeah. We played them, but they knocked off Yowies.
Wow.
Dungutty Connection.
Yeah.
In Nara.
Yeah, Dad rang me up. I was on the phone, and I was there for South Tari. I just left because we got flogged by Googars, and
You got a lot of flogs and flogs.
I don't know.
They're
We
in the
didn't
mix
turn
or
up.
they're getting flogged.
Yeah, we're either playing good.
There's no in between.
No in between. We either get towed up or we're toweling someone up. That's just how it is. So I was on the phone, and he goes, "You watched that Kempsey side?" I said, "Nah." He goes, "They're all young, you know that." I said, "How young?" I said, He goes, "Guess." I said, 20. He goes, "Nah." He goes, 17, 18, some of them boys.
That's crazy.
I'm sitting there going, wow. And they knocked off Yowies, and I watched the game. I'm like, oh. I said, they got something building there.
Yeah.
So for the 18, 19 to play against men and actually knock off a couple of teams and play good football.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like luck of the draw or luck of the pass or kick or something. They were actually playing really good football.
Yeah.
And the middle, I was that happy to watch that middle. That middle was actually coming in and bashing and taking it to teams, which was good. I was sitting there going, oh, 18, 19-year-olds doing that. That's they got something brewing there. So if they stick with that team, you never know.
They didn't go to Bathurst at all.
No.
Kempsey teams went to Bathurst. But I'm hearing strongly that they're coming to Tamworth in force.
Yeah.
And they're already building already. I think they got even the women's are way better organised than they've ever been. And Simone Smith and her sister Krista Smith up there doing some amazing. Remember both champions up there coaching took the team to the grand final last year at Macleay. And I think they're building Kempsey. So beware. They're
a very proud town. They're a very proud town. And that's why it shocked me last year that
they didn't turn up.
You have years where there's 8 Kempsey teams in the knockout, and last year there was none. It was amazing that.
Yeah.
They'll be back.
Such a proud
They
town.
won't go away for long. They'll be back.
That's what because Macleay they play in our comp Group 3, so they're always with Tari, so always clashing with Tari, and they've said like all the cousins and that said, and that they're good. They're a good team. If they keep building what they got to build, the knockout team's gonna be 10 times better. But it'd be good to see Kempsey back in it, especially for Tari, because they're our cousins from the north, and we'd love to see them take it out, and vice versa. Like you don't realise the connection we have with the North Coast teams.
Yeah.
If you see a North Coast team and a really good North Coast team, everyone from the North Coast goes for them.
Yeah.
And they'll go, nah, these fellas are going to take it. We're backing them. Like when we made it to the semi-final against Redfern, and that was 2016, I believe it is. Yeah, 2016. That was the first we made in a long time, and every single North Coast team, come on, bro, you got to win it for North Coast. You got to take it back to North Coast. Where are you going to have it if we win it? I said, we haven't even played the game yet. I said, come on, let us beat you first. He goes, no. You don't realise how much the North Coast, all the North Coast teams are excited to see you fellas get up there, because he's representing not only you fellas Tari, but representing North Coast now. So, but
that was a good knockout for Tari.
It was.
Remember that one, Leichhardt Oval there. And
it was. It meant a lot to us too, because it was a memorial side for our Uncle Dennis. So he passed away from cancer and that. Probably.
And he was a warrior for Tari. He was a warrior.
It didn't matter. He didn't matter if he was crook, one leg, charged up or whatever. As soon as he put that jersey and jumped on that field, played for South Tari, It was just an old, different animal.
And you give it to Redfern there that day. That was a famous Owen Craigie. They tried to pick on the kid, and the kid manhandled Latrell.
Yeah, that was it.
They're trying to pick on the kid. Latrell was a kid, eh? And he was 16 or so,
Yeah,
17, 18.
Yeah, it was his first year in NRL. He was 18 years old.
And you're throwing people around left, right, and centre.
Like that,
but you had a good team. You went close, though.
Yeah.
It was good to see.
Just all locals too. That was the beauty about it. That was the best about it. It meant something. Like it always means something to us in the knockout, but it meant more because we had all locals, all the older fellas actually leading the way, and us young fellas just icing what we needed to ice, and then, but it just meant more because it was Uncle Dennis's memorial team.
What was your dad's words to you going into that one?
Going to that one, Dad, he didn't say much.
Would have meant a lot to him to see.
Oh, it did. It did. Every year it means.
Because the three of you were in that team, mate.
Three of us were in it. Lionel was in it, our baby brother, and he was the back rower, and he's just as big as us, if not bigger. Yeah. You know, and had all three of us, it meant the world to him to see all three of us because we only had one opportunity in under 13's grand final that all three of us played together, and that was the last time Lionel played. So, and it was that was his first year back playing footy. That meant the world to me as a big brother, having my two little brothers with me.
Nice.
So that was the year that it meant everything because it had us three boys there together playing, and we were all fit, we were all raring to go. Like I was a bit bigger then. I was probably about 130 or something like that. So I didn't have to sidestep because I got my two little brothers. I'll just run hard. I was run straight over top of you. That's just how I played. And baby brother was pretty similar, but he had a bit more footwork and he was a bit lighter. And then Latrell was just Latrell. Just let him roam and do his thing.
What's the chances of seeing the three brothers back again this October?
Oh, don't know. We'll see how we go. You know, just depends on how my body feels as well because I've been riddled with injuries and you know, just a few mental health things as well. Just trying to battle through a lot of it. You know, I'm good in that aspect because I've had a lot of practice. You know, I've had to teach myself how to control my emotions and you know, be private because that's how I fix myself is when I just disappear for a bit and I'll come back with vengeance. But that's the only thing about me. And then and it's Lionel's first year back. He come out of retirement again. So he needs to keep them cobwebs off them boots, that fella. So he's back playing, and Latrell's just being Latrell. So we'll see what happens. We'll talk about it, and then we'll go from there. But but it's for Tari. But I think it's for Tari. So.
Yeah.
Now, the Rabbitohs got the highest Indigenous numbers in the game.
Yep.
Now, do you boys talk about knockout at any time? I know Cody's passionate. I know he's focused on the NRL. You never did. But on your little side yarns here and there, do you talk about it? Is there a chance that AJ and some of these blokes might come and play? A bit of poaching? Does anyone get in their ear, or you just sort of, you're all tied to your communities and you sort of just leave each other alone?
Majority of us are tied to our communities. That's obviously Cody with Bunjalung as well, and.
Tallis has played with
Lapa. Young Drome Burns plays with War. Because that's his mob too at Dubbo. And then you had Tai, obviously Tai's either Sydney or Moree. And then obviously me and Latrell, Tari, or that Condo side when we eventually do put that in. Jackie too. Legs played with Whack. So Tassie played for Whack and played for Bellbrook too. So yeah, there's about 11 of us in that side. So there's.
If you could recruit, you'd start to pull a little bit of a good side together. Help the old Tari boys out a bit. You got one or two.
You already got the colours on, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. They don't have to change colours.
I plant that in their ears anyways all the time. I say, hey, look, you might have 1 year with me. What do you reckon?
Well, there's a couple there that you could have got that probably. Like Jacob ended up going to. The Rings.
Yeah,
he played with the Rings last year.
Well, he can because he's with.
Tassie's there.
Because he's with one of the sister girls from Tari. So one of the Doomases. So
there you go.
There's a connection there. Tai can play for Tari too.
Yeah, right.
His old man was there as well. He basically grew up in Tari. Novan. So I always said that to Tata. I said, "You got connection too, bruh?" I said, "You were at the mission a couple of times. I seen you there." Yeah, you were in Nappy's butt. You were there though. But yeah, no, Tata's another one. He got ties with Tari, and obviously Jack for our Goolagong side.
Yeah, yeah.
If, you know,
your cousin,
if
got to play with you.
Cousin's got to play with us.
Well, I put the bounce on. That's my brother-in-law. So that's how he ended up.
Old Jack getting put under the pump.
Poor fella. Yeah, and I've still got beef with him because in the episode say talk me about John Dory's. If you want to come here and do John Dory's, I see him. He's the biggest John Dory of them all. That fella, mate. He's undercover. He's just a bit loud. That's the only thing that gets him. But yeah, no, we're keen for that Condo side. I think it's just in talks. It's not set in stone. We're just trying to get the community together.
It'd be fun one year. It'd be fun one year to see it.
Yeah.
What are they out there, Condo? What's
boomerangs, aren't they?
Boomerangs.
Condo boomerangs. They are too, yeah. Oh, Jason Solomon out there. No,
yeah.
He'd be proud.
Jace will be team manager. He'll put his hand up.
Well organised.
That's who got the photo. That was one of the photos of all our grandfathers and our great uncles and that all playing together. It was 1940s or 50s or something like that. It was the whole Condo boomerang side, and then had all our relatives in it.
Yeah.
And there was every single player. So there was likes of myself, Latrell, Jackie Legs, Brent Naden, and Tyrell Sloan. So
Tyrell too.
So Tyrell, he's got
and
connections at Condo as well.
Percy Knight, rest in peace. Percy just passed away not long ago, but he was there. He's a Condo there. I think Claudie Williams has got some connection out there as well.
Oh,
Joey Williams. And
Joe,
there's a lot of them all connected to that Condo, that Whiten family, It's a big family. George Rose there, the in-law. You might have to get in more that way. Maybe Jack needs to pull you back the other way.
I'm not far from getting tapped on the shoulder at whack anyway, so I'll be looking for a team soon.
1 year, that's all right.
Can't fit you in. Trenny comes and tells you. Can't fit you in, brothers.
Sorry.
George get wild, go straight over and play.
Come on, Shaq, let's get this team together.
Isn't that a knockout thing, too? Like the fellow misses out and he joins the opposition and goes, I can't wait to play. I can't wait. It was funny.
Turn up the fittest you've been ever in the last 5 years, ready to roll.
Yeah, you see it. It's crazy. Some of those little stories that do get in there. And, funny little yarn. Just recently, young fellow Sebastian Card asked for a release from Moore Park to Redfern, and he turned up to the game. They were playing Moore Park, and he walked in the sheds, and they go, "Nah, bro, your release didn't come in." So he just walked out and walked back in another shed and played against them. Played against them. I said, "I've never seen that before." He walked into one shed. They said, "Your release hasn't come free." All right, he grabbed his stuff, walked in next one, went up and played against them. That's the good ones when you see that at the knockout. Someone jumps ship last second or gets left out of a team, and then he goes all out against them in the next game. They're the good ones to see. Old Georgie Rose, we'll remember the day when he turns on whack and plays for Condo Boomerangs.
Condo, yep. That's it.
What's been some of the big games, brother, that you've enjoyed watching over the knockout over the years? Or some of the players, actually. I wouldn't mind. You got a good eye for a footballer there. Who's some of the players you've loved watching at the knockout?
There's a few. I mainly watch all the young fellas, like the one next generation under us. So there's a couple good little players. We had young fella, well, my namesake, young Shaq Saunders, kicking off both feet.
Yeah, that was
chip
mate
off the right, chip off the left
foot, right foot. Yeah.
He was deadly. He was deadly to watch. Little speedster. Who else is that? I love watching Burke because of the pride that they have for that jersey, and they always have a hard team. And stories of the past teams they had, they were strong. Dad's always spoke about them. They were strong. They were aggressive. Same with Moree. Love watching Moree. RAB, especially when you're winning and absolutely killing it. Had all the boys all together because I played with you at Redfern. Played with him and played alongside this fella here. Yeah, I was only 18 at the time.
Young buck.
Yeah, Chooks let me play with you, so it was good. So a lot of the boys there are deep connection with RAB, so I love watching RAB play, and boys are still in my ear about playing with us.
I know, they're in my ear. They told me, make sure you grab him and have a yarn with him.
They're stinging me all the time, and I love watching the Kempsey side because some of them fellas, you don't even look like obviously, nowadays everyone's got six-pack walking around, muscly as and wearing extra small jerseys.
Not everyone.
Not everyone. I'm prime example. I'm getting peppered all the time about my body shape. I'm not even that big. But you see the Kempsey, they don't even look like footballers, but when they turn it on and they start playing footy, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, some of them just look like average fellas just sitting on the sideline, just cheering their team on. They jump on, and you're thinking, like I know a couple of the boys. They say, this fella, he won't get out. And then when he gets 1 or 2, 3 tackles, and then he turns around and said, "Cuz, it's unlimited interchange. I'll be back in 5 minutes." So it don't matter. So you watch them Kempsey fellas, man. I love watching Kempsey as well because they just hard, rough style footballers, and obviously we always clash and always play against each other in the group games. So
I think this year we're going to see a few new players step up. Given where it's at, given we're in the north end of the state, up at Tamworth, I know that already with the teams that have come in, there's a lot of new teams from that northwest region that haven't been in for a while, and then I think we'll pick up a lot of new ones from that north coast area too. So I reckon there could be some new faces and new teams that really stand up this year. That I'm excited to see it too.
As a central little place for where a lot of them strong teams are from, like the western teams, Burke, the Breeze, the Walgets, they're not too far to travel. Moree, like they're all going to come in. And
Boomerangs are feeling very confident this year, knowing how close to home they are.
You have to say it. The evidence there is the West is dominating at the moment. You know, you look
what's
at
Big Toby saying there?
Oh,
Big
he's
Toby Keys,
he's looking fit too. Toby's doing road runs 3 days a week.
I'm saying that.
He's doing well, Toby. I've seen him play the other week. He's
Toads.
actually in really good nick, and I know
That's
he's
good.
determined. That's the big thing. He's got the determination. So they will be a massive threat to the Boomerang Sports Club, and look. But I think Walgett, Burke, Nanama were great last year. They're going to be outstanding again. I didn't mention them in the previous last year, and didn't Roy RC and Tyrone Peachy give it to me about it. But you have to mention them. They're going to go close.
Oh, yeah.
But the emergence back of the coast sides, because they haven't got far to go, and they have been quiet for a long time, the coast sides. There hasn't been many of them that have gotten a long way.
Yeah.
I think you could see them go. It's going to be hotly contested, you know what I mean? Like, I think the Riverina sides, they'll be tested by how far they got to go to get up there and to get organised and all that side. The Sydney teams will struggle with that as well, and the South Coast, but North Coast and Western New South Wales, I think they're going to see them emerge. But you never know. You never know this knockout.
No, exactly. That's the one thing. That's the beauty about the knockout. You never know who's going to turn up. You never know what team's going to actually gel together in a short period of time. And some of them, because a lot of the family members and that are all coming from, let's say Queensland Cup, New South Wales Cup, NRL. Maybe even some will come back over from the Super League, England. So you don't get that opportunity to have that gel together. Like with Tari, like we have a lot of the boys that all play together, but they also play against each other too. So that's the difference. So they either play for Old Bar or Tari City, and then they'll either play the Hastings League pub comp, or if not, they play for Wingham. So they're the three teams that they always mix around with. So we'll just see how everything goes, but I'm excited to watch. What
do you love most about the knockout?
All us mob coming together. To be honest with you, it's something. There's something about it. Like all the mob. Every time I walk past everyone, like I know I ask them for photos and that, and I don't mind at all. I love it. Because it's it's for the mob. Getting amongst it, and actually being considered as a brother instead of just this footballer. It's awesome to see and to feel the presence of it, like all the mob and that all together, and having a laugh, having a few too many after. No, it's good. You can feel the connection, the love, and the support of each other. But also when it comes to footy, we're gonna have that bargy bashing. We're gonna bash each other, or even a couple of little blues here and there. But at the end of the day, that's the one thing about us mob. We always come back together and talk about that, because that's it's our modern day corroborree. Like everyone says, it's something that family members don't even get to see each other, and they come and see each other for years, and they finally get the opportunity to come and rekindle their relationships and that. But that's me for the knockout. 100%. I think it's more the game's a game, because obviously every blackfella can play that game. Like everyone can play it. It's us coming together all as one, and that's what we do at the All Stars, bro? Like we just All Stars. We're all from different towns. We're all from different communities, up from the top end to the TIs, to the mob up there, Cuzzo's up there, to all the way down, like Jermaine and Noel Brown, all from Melbourne and that, and and Cade Custer's from like down that way too, down in Victoria, and like all the mob there, and then plus also probably got a couple of WA mob, but that looking to come play rugby league as well. And we all come together, and that's the beauty about it. Us blackfellas, don't matter where we're from, we're all brothers and sisters regardless. But I think that's maybe the main thing.
You actually captain of the All-Star side. What does that mean to you and your leadership that you've shown at All-Stars now for, nearly 4 or 5 years now? You come into camp and he's the one that leads the way. He doesn't say a lot, this fella, but when he does talk, it always hits the spot. What does that mean to you to be the captain of the All-Stars team?
That's the pinnacle of my career at the moment. Captain wasn't just captain of the boys. It was actually like being the leader of our people. You know? Uncle Abe, he drummed that in my head every time I go to the All-Stars. He kept telling me, like, I think he's seen it because how preserved I was. But don't worry, like I got my funny side, character side. I love having a laugh and taking a piss at everyone. But when it's serious, I flip the switch pretty quickly. I want to do my people proud and want to do my family proud, because at the end of the day, I got three little sets of eyes watching me as well. So I got 3 little ones, and I want to make a good example for them, especially my young fella, because all 3 of them actually, but my 2 eldest are starting to play footy now, so I want to show them, like, this is how you play football. This is what it's meant to be played. It's meant to be played rough. It's meant to be played hard. It's meant to be played with full of passion. And that's the one thing I pride myself on. I don't take a backward step from anyone. Don't care who you are. Don't care what caliber player you are. Don't care what accolades you got. Me and you bleed the same. I said, me and you going to go to war, and I'll love you and shake your hand after, but we're going to war between this. But that was probably the best thing I've ever done. Best thing I've ever had that I've accomplished was at the captain. Was the captain that was it was unbelievable. I couldn't stop crying either. It was I was a bit teary-eyed, the fella. So.
No, we're all proud of you too.
He did a great job, not only on the field, where he's the leader on the field and always stands up. Him and Koori sort of lead the way. Then they follow in your footsteps, but off the field as well. I think you got that leadership all the way through. And what are you going to do post-footy, bro? Have you thought about it?
I've thought about it. I was going to go back into construction, because that's where when I walked away from the game for 4 years, that's where I went and done construction for a while, but I felt like it wasn't for me anymore. And my passion was going back to community and looking after, everyone. I'm a big believer of unity. Unity is it's massive for me, because obviously my family and that, we still got a little bit of dramas here and there, but I love to be the glue of
a mediator, eh?
Yeah, so I try to be. I got a bit of a temper myself, so I can't really say much about that. But I think more based on community stuff. So I love looking after young fellas, and especially the mental health side of things, because that's the reason why I walked away from the game at a young age. Went through depression and anxiety, so I try and keep the kids on straight and narrow. And I said, look, I've been in your shoes. I might not look like it. My life, you might hear it from other people, but I'm telling you the truth. This is my truth, and this is what I've done in my life to get myself back on track. So, yeah.
That's cool.
Great story you got, and you'd be a great advocate there, and you'd make a big difference. I know that, and I've seen you already make that bit of difference. So, yeah, that's good.
Bro. No, we appreciate you coming on and sharing a little bit about it, and we look forward to seeing what happens with South Tari this year too, because always a good force. I'd love to see the 3 brothers back together playing this year in Tamworth.
I'll be deadly. We'll see how the body pulls up at the moment. That's the only thing that stops me is, the body cops a bit of battering, and obviously you boys
Dino
know,
can
so
tell you a bit about that.
You boys know stuff as well. So my body cops a bit of bashing during the year, and at the end of the back end of the season, I play with pride and I play with passion, and I want to be. You're never 100%, but I want to be close, at least 80.
Yeah.
To play, because I play in the NRL. All the boys are going to come for me.
Yeah,
so especially being in the middle
100%.
too. So I gotta pull my finger out in that kind of aspect. But I'll just see how everything goes, because obviously my wedding anniversary is like literally a couple of days after the knockout, or a day after the knockout. So I'll just I'm a bit touch and go with it at the moment.
That's all right. Go down the Golden Guitar there. There's plenty to see in Timor.
Armadale, romantic.
Romantic drive, eh? A big waterfall in that there.
I've got to do something, or my wife's going to lift me. So.
Well, I hope you don't get lifted, and I hope you have a great rest of the season too with the Bunnies. The Black Club, we all support the Bunnies, so hope you have a great season there and look forward to seeing you at the knockout. And thanks for sharing with us today on the Koori Knockout podcast.
Yeah, my brother. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you again soon.